Today I'm going to share with you 10 things that I wish I knew before I got into real estate. The first thing is it's a feast or famine business. One month you may have 10 closings, the next month you may have one, or you may have none. So budgeting and planning are extremely important, especially when you first get into the business. The reason that most agents fail within the first 2 years of becoming a realtor is because they failed to plan and budget accordingly. Second thing is that my business isn't selling homes, it's selling myself. We call it building your brand. If I want people to work with me rather than one of the other 400 agents that are out there in our association, I have to be able to answer the question, how am I different from those agents? What do I offer people that nobody else can offer them? Number three, it's not as flexible as you may think it is. A lot of new agents get into real estate and they talk about, I love the fact that I can work from home and it's real flexible hours. And the thing of it is, if you're in it for the long haul, if you want to be a successful realtor, you're going to come into the office. You are going to spend time around other agents to learn the business. So it may not be your typical 9 to 5. When I first started selling real estate, I was honestly working 70 to 80 hours a week, sometimes more than that, because you have to be willing to get out there and learn your craft and show people houses and be available for marketing appointments. So you've got to be able to structure your day. And if you work from home, it's real easy to get distracted by, well, I've got to do the laundry, or, oh, let me get the dishes done, or let me let the dog out. You get distracted by all those things. Whereas if you come into the office, you're going to be more focused on doing those things that you need to be doing to generate income. The flexible hours part, I do get that. Right now, taking care of my granddaughter and raising her, I've had to scale my hours back. So instead of 70 plus hours, I'm probably working around 50 hours a week because I can't jump up and go show a house in the evening or on the weekend. But when I'm at work, I have to stay very focused on what I'm doing while I'm here to make the most of that time. Number four, you have to spend money to make money. And that's hard for a lot of agents to understand. I see agents who have been in the business for years and they hit a ceiling of like $100,000 to $200,000 and they just can't seem to push through it. And it's because they don't invest money back into their business. I have a full-time assistant. He does my data entry, he schedules showings, he communicates with the sellers, he does a lot of my social media postings. And so many agents will come by my office and make the comment, I wish I had a Marty. Well, hire one. And they're like, oh, I don't make enough money. Well, here's the thing. The time that I save by letting him do those tasks creates more time for me to be able to go on listing appointments, to take buyers out for showings, to do those income producing activities. So when you free up your time from doing those day-to-day tasks, you're going to be able to make more income to be able to pay that salary. But you got to be willing to spend the money first. Number five, choosing the right brokerage isn't just about the split. So if you're not in real estate, you may not be familiar with the term split, but that refers to the amount of the commission that your brokerage keeps. So when I get a commission check, I don't get 100% of that money. My brokerage takes a part of it. And now, in this day and age, we have a lot of what they call virtual brokerages, meaning they don't have a brick and mortar office. So they will offer agents 100% splits because they're not having any physical overhead that they're having to cover. But the problem with that is you don't have anybody that you can just go next door to and say, hey, I've got a problem I need to talk to you about. Or, hey, I need help on this listing presentation. Would you go with me? There's no support there. There's no training there. So you have to figure out what is most important to you, because sometimes it's not all about the money. I came to Remax because of the brand recognition. Some of these newer companies people have never heard of. If you work for them, when you go out on a listing appointment, you're not just selling yourself, you're having to sell your company and how they can help that seller. When I go on a listing appointment working for Remax, Everybody knows Remax. So that's an obstacle that I'm not having to overcome on my listing presentations. Number 6 on my list would be to find a mentor. And I didn't do that immediately when I got into real estate, but I learned very quickly that that was something that I needed. So whether you use the online resources that are available through YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, or whether you go out and actually pay for a coach, you need to have someone who is going to challenge you, who's going to help you find the best way to move forward in your career path. Number 7, your friends and family are not going to automatically use you as their agent. And that is going to hurt your feelings a lot. I remember the first time it happened to me. And the sad thing is, it's going to happen more than once. And so after a while, the sting isn't quite as bad, but it does hurt when you see that person that you grew up together, you went to high school together, and all of a sudden they've listed their house with somebody else. Or the dentist that you've went to for 20 years uses another agent to buy a house. And you just have to get over it, basically, is the best advice anybody can give you. It's not personal. There's a lot of things that go on in someone's decision as to who they're going to list their home with. And you just have to trust that it wasn't meant to be, and don't hold hard feelings towards those people. Number 8, consistency is the key to success. So when you get in the business, there's 20,000 different ways to market yourself as a realtor. And a lot of agents will try something for a month or two and, oh, well, that's not working. So they're going to try something else for a month or two. And the way to be a success is to be consistent. You can't mail a postcard out to your neighborhood for 2 months or 3 months and say, hey, I'm your neighborhood realtor. And then you didn't get a phone call, so you quit doing that mail out. You have to be consistent. You have to commit to doing the same marketing for at least a year before you can expect to see results from that. So if the activities that you're doing are known to be productive, income producing activities, stick with it. Don't do it 2 or 3 times and then quit. Number 9, never count your commissions before that check is in your hand. And a few years ago, I had a closing, and I got a phone call from the loan officer at like 4:45, and she said, hey, we got the clear to close. When do you want me to schedule this with the title company? And then at 6 o'clock, she calls me back, and she says, yeah, we're not closing. She said the buyer quit his job a week ago. Nothing is a sure thing until that check is in your hand. And I mean, literally, people could have an accident on their way to closing. So many different things can happen. So you just have to learn. Don't count on a commission check until it's physically in your hand. And I have shared before on a video about I had a deal that didn't close that I was expecting to close when I had first started selling real estate. And I thought I was going to have to get out of it because I didn't have the money to pay my bills. And luckily my broker gave me a loan to help me get through those bad months. But that boils down to what I was talking about just a moment ago of you've got to be able to budget and you've got to be able to plan, and you can't count on a commission check to bail you out of a financial crisis. You've got to be able to budget ahead of time and have a plan, because your commission check is never guaranteed till you have it in hand. And the last one is that no one is a real estate success overnight. You can't get into this business and think that you're going to make $100,000 your first year. Does it happen? Yeah, it does happen from time to time. It depends on the market. It depends on where you live. There's some places that $1 million is a low sales price. Here, $1 million is a luxury home. Nobody's going to get in the business and just start closing deals immediately. It's rare that it happens. You've got to put the blood, sweat, and the tears into it. And so a lot of times they'll interview musicians and they'll refer to them as an overnight success. And I've heard musicians say, well, sure, I'm an overnight success if you count 10 years of playing at bars and clubs and local county fairs and playing wherever I could get an audience, then sure, I'm an overnight success. And it's kind of that way with real estate. You're plugging along, you're being consistent, and all of a sudden your business explodes. And people are like, wow, that just happened overnight. It didn't happen overnight. but it was the culmination of all those things that suddenly it's like the stars align for you and things start falling into place. So, kind of the purpose of this video, a lot of people want to get into real estate, and a lot of people don't understand the true commitment and time that it takes to be successful in this business. I had somebody who had emailed me earlier this week asking, hey, I'm thinking about going to real estate school. What are your thoughts on it? And I'm like, I'm going to be brutally honest with you and tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. And a lot of people don't understand that realtors are paid on a commission basis, which means that I can work 70 hours in a week, and if I don't have a closing, I don't have a paycheck. I still have expenses that have to be paid. So you got to be in a good mindset and a good financial place to be able to get into real estate and be successful at that. So if you are interested in selling real estate and you want to sit down with somebody one-on-one and talk to them, send me a DM, leave a comment, we'll get in touch.